The Trump campaign saying Donald Trump will show up for the next debate. Syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer has his own unique perspective on last night's event as well as today's spin. He joins us tonight from Washington. Well, I asked you, Charles, to kind of put together the best and worst for each of the nominees. The best moment for Hillary Clinton, you said, was that moment we just heard of where she was talking about being out on the trail and preparing for the debate.
The best moment in a debate is when you summarize what you're about in one brief, succinct line, and she did. She basically said, I'm a professional, I prepare, I'm ready to be the president. The implication is he's a celebrity, he doesn't prepare, he shows up, that's what celebrities do, and he's not ready to be commander-in-chief. That's the essence of her appeal, and she did it in one smart, short way.
All right, here is what you chose for Hillary Clinton's worst moment of the debate.
That is just not accurate. I was against it once it was finally negotiated and the terms were laid out. I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard.
Well, I hope...
You called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Charles?
Well, in fact, she did call it the gold standard. And this one exchange, this one issue exemplifies all that's wrong with the Clinton candidacy. She obviously is not saying the truth. She changed her mind on it, which can happen, but it's obvious that she changed her mind only because she was being hit by Sanders on this issue and because Trump was having such success in coming out against trade that all public opinion has turned against trade. There's no candidate on either side of any stature who was defending free trade. So she accommodates, she listens to which way the wind, she puts her finger up to feel which way the wind is blowing, and she goes that way. That was her low point.
Talk to business leaders. Talk to business leaders. That's pretty remarkable about the fact that neither nominee is really defending it wholeheartedly, trade deals. Trump's best moment, here's what you chose.
I just ask you this. You've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions.
Well,
why
again,
that moment?
That for him is the equivalent of her thing about preparation. His argument, his case is, I'm change, she's not. 2-to-1, the country thinks we're on the wrong track. If you want the old stuff, the 30 years, the reason nothing has been done, if you like the way that things are, you go to her. If you want change, this is undefined change. This is not specific. He doesn't really have a plan or program of any coherence or even an ideology of any coherence. But this is the starkest change, status quo dichotomy, and that summarizes it in one line.
All right, this is his worst moment, according to you.
The only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools or health. It must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide. And maybe because you haven't paid any federal income tax for a lot of years. And the other thing I think is important.
It would be squandered too, believe me.
Charles?
He couldn't resist the temptation to be the smart ass and to show that he's clever. Look, the pride he has is his success. That's how he defines himself. And he wasn't ashamed to admit that he could have done this. He was actually conceding that he may not have paid any income tax. Now, in a boardroom with a bunch of other CEOs and you're boasting about your success, you say that. You don't say it in a presidential campaign, whereas Hillary said today, if it's smart not to pay any taxes and you're a billionaire, then what about the rest of us? And I think this thing could have legs. First concession that he may not have paid taxes.
Charles Krauthammer in D.C. Charles, as always, thank you.